Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from Killswitch Engage, This Consequence, out February 21st on Metal Blade Records. The album has 10 tracks, 35 minutes in length, and this is the band's 9th full-length studio album. They are an American metalcore band. Now, from a design standpoint, I feel like there's two main elements that add great quality and playability to the record. One is the fact that the album does a great job alternating tracks and creating different experiences from song to song. You never really get two tracks that are very similar to one another back to back. It's an album that keeps the listener on the edge of the seat, alternating heavier, more intense, aggressive songs with tracks that have a lot more melody, that feel a lot more emotional from a soundscape but also from a vocal perspective. The other aspect is the overall length of the record. It's not a long album. So whenever you have these short records, you're always closer to creating an album with a more clear impact on the listener. Easier to listen to, easier to digest, easier to process. You don't feel burdened by it. It's a lot easier to finish the record and go back to the beginning because you almost didn't get enough of all the great qualities that an album offers. So these two elements put together on a single record, on a single design, definitely elevates what this album can offer to the listener. Now, as far as the sound is concerned, I want to start off by saying that this album has great production behind it. It's an album that has subtleties in the sound, creating a very precise Killswitch Engage fingerprint, specifically when it comes to the guitar sound, but not allowing that fingerprint to completely taint the record, almost blinding you from all the uniquenesses that the record offers. This is not an album where you can tell the forest from the trees. This is an album that's really easy to see the differences, uniquenesses that exist from song to song, but at the same time find the red line that brings them all together. It's an album that overall encapsulates the discography of the band. You're gonna find all the different sides or shades of what Killswitch Engage has been over the years. The more powerful, the more aggressive side, the heavier side of the band, both musically and vocally. The more melodic, melancholic, I would go as far as to say emotional side of the band is also represented on this record. The groovier side of the band is also represented on this record. So it's an album that really takes a page almost out of each and every single album to create a record that unifies them all and then brings some new elements that we hadn't seen before on any Killswitch Engage record. A perfect example of that is a song like Broken Glass. Very unique track to the band, very unique track even in the concept of this overall album. But this is still a guitar-focused, a guitar-driven, sound-wise record. The guitars on this album offer a lot of diversity, from the grooviness to the heaviness to the melody. It's an album that allows the guitars to really dictate what the mood, what the experience of each and every single song is going to be, but being that focus, that catalyst that drives those tracks. I love the guitar sound on this album. I love the solos on this record. I honestly felt surprised by not just the quality, but the impact that the solos have in the songs and adding value to the way the tracks are put together, not depending on perhaps cliche breakdowns that could have been used in some tracks, rather going more with a classic approach by using the guitar solos to add life, to add energy, to make the tracks bigger. Because at the end of the day, when you're listening to this album, regardless of all the emotional side of the songs, the melodic side of the songs, or even the groovier side of the songs, the experience that you're going to get at the end of the album sound-wise, starting with the guitars but driving throughout the entire soundscape, is that this is a very heavy album. And I think because the album is also short and compact, and the alternating of tracks also allows you to almost forget the more melodic, the groovier side of the record, and just kind of focus on how heavy the overall album is. And it's not just because of the guitar sound. The drums on this album emphasize a lot of the heaviness that the record has. They're the perfect partner to how heavy the sound becomes at times. And I think what you're gonna find on this album, within that heaviness, the impact of the drums in order to enhance it is something that I don't think I've seen before from a Killswitch Engage record. So that's a very interesting detail that adds great quality and great value to how this album is put together in order to give the fans something that they can feel is Killswitch Engage, but at the same time not recreating albums that have been released before. As far as the vocals goes, Jesse is really good in terms of his vocal range and the dynamics that offers to the tracks. From the harsher vocals to the screaming style to the more clean, melodic, melancholic, emotional side of his vocal delivery, this album has it all. And he uses it perfectly to create not just the ebbs and flows between tracks, but to create defined ebbs and flows within the songs in terms of what the verses are offering and what the chorus delivers. This is an album that has great choruses, most of them driven by the melodic guitar sound, but also by Jesse's vocal performance. Great vocal performance from beginning to end, feeling very intense, very aggressive, at times almost unhinged. And when you put all of this together, you have less of a prototypical album. You still have a Killswitch Engage record, but I feel like you're going to get an album that you haven't heard before, but there's roots there that are familiar to the fans of the band. So it's a very interesting album, an album that offers some new ideas, some new ways of moving forward with some very interesting songs that I think are going to have an impact on the fans and on the general listener. As far as favorite songs are concerned, I want to start off with Abandon Us. This is the opening track, and it's a very heavy guitar, drum, vocals, very heavy song from the get-go. I think it's a great way to open up the album because it lets you kind of know what you're in for. This is not going to be a soft record. This is going to be a heavy album. There will be some soft moments, but overall the experience is a very heavy driven record. So this track being the opening track, I think it lays the path for that experience, and it really rises or brings it to a higher level, the intensity that this album is also going to put forward. I dig the guitar sound on this track a lot. Great solo, great experience, very groovy track at times. It starts more melodic, but it kind of becomes more of a groovier song that adds texture to the overall guitar sound, and it becomes almost a Killswitch Engage typical song when you get to the chorus. Very hooky, very melodic, both vocally and musically. That becomes the DNA, where the DNA of the band really shines and really comes forward, becoming that red line that I mentioned earlier. Another track is Aftermath, a track that has a very distinct guitar sound. When the song starts, you know immediately you're listening to a Killswitch Engage song. That guitar DNA, that tone is very particular to the band, and on this track you're able to see it a little bit more clear because it's a song that has more of a direct approach, has a hooky chorus, a very melodic and hooky chorus. Once again, that red line that connects these songs, but it's not as heavy as Abandon Us. Is a song that has a different experience, a different texture, a different sort of sound. You still have some more aggression, some more heaviness, if you will, in the verses versus the chorus, but definitely not to the level of a song like Abandon Us. And because of that, there's less of a gap between the different momentums of the track, so it feels like overall is a more streamlined song. Last but not least, Broken Glass. This is the most unique song that the album offers. It's also the shortest track on the record. Really short, just a little bit over the 2-minute mark. It doesn't even reach, I think it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds total, so really short track. The shortest track on the album, and there's only another song that's only about 10 seconds, 12 seconds longer than this one. So right away, when you look at the length of the track, it allows them to do something different. It allows them to offer something different. This song feels like more a hardcore song at its core, both musically and vocally. It has a very unique sound. It doesn't follow that prototypical tone of a Killswitch Engage song. Like I said, it's heavy, it's hard-hitting, both musically and vocally, a lot more aggressive, a lot more power, a lot more of a hardcore backdrop to how this song is put together and how it comes across. And it's also a track because of that more hardcore sound. It allows the bass to have a much bigger impact on this track than on any other that you're going to hear on the album. The bass really pops in this song, and that bass popping also adds to that aggression, that hardcore intensity that the track oozes. This is it, Killswitch Engage, This Consequence, out February 21st on Metal Blade Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Hit me up in the comment section, and I'll see you all at the next video. Take care, guys.